Recording now. Okay, so thanks everyone for joining our lead process with Infor Cloud Suite CRM. So as I mentioned here on this slide, if you could just leave yourself on mute, send any questions to the chat box. I will try and hit them throughout, and we'll do kind of an open mic Q&A at the end. All right, so as I mentioned, we'll do some introductions. I'll show you some upcoming events, and then we'll jump over to the CRM after a couple of slides. I am Jessica Wirtz, the Customer Success Manager here at Simplesoft Solutions. Unfortunately, Don is unable to join today. He had an emergency to get to, but we will cover all the items. Just a quick look at our upcoming events. As usual, these are always on our calendar of events page at simplesoft.net. So you can sign up for all these there. I do want to give a sneak peek. So Infor has just released a new version, 8.4.04. And I'm not going to go into too much detail on this. Just FYI, we will have a full webinar demo of these items coming soon. So keep an eye out. But I did want to just give a sneak peek at two of the new features released that are pretty exciting. Infor's brought workflow alerts. So these are triggered by actions you take in the CRM. For instance, you can trigger an alert. This example in the screenshot is an opportunity that went past its estimated close date. So you could choose to notify the sales rep. And as you can see, you can build these right within your CRM. And as you can see here in the screenshot, you can even use merge tags to actually put the name of the opportunity, the estimated close date, and you can even customize this email to give them actions to do. You can see here you can add recipients, you can BCC sales managers. So it's a great tool. Again, I will do a complete demo on this coming up, but it's very easy to build. And it's a rich text editor that you add merge fields in. It's quick and simple. So I just wanted to show that. And the other interesting new feature is they've updated the activities. So you can now assign activities to multiple people, accounts. You can assign activities and connect with tickets and campaigns. And it all fans out to be seen across those entities. So this again is just a quick sneak peek at another new feature that's coming in the .4 update. So keep an eye out for that invite on the upcoming demo of that. If you have any questions in the meantime and you don't want to wait, obviously feel free to call me and I can give you a personal demo. All right, so I'm going to go through some slides here. I tried to get some of the questions that were submitted right when you registered for the event on what you wanted to learn. So one is, why have a lead process in CRM? I'm just going to hit a couple of points. So one is to keep your sales team focused. You're generating leads, right? Whether it's an inside sales team that's doing that or it's just marketing or both. It's good to have a process in CRM and have all those leads in CRM so you can keep your sales team focused on what leads and sales management knows what's going on. Having a lead process in CRM also allows marketing to track the success of the leads. How often do you hear the sales team complaining about the leads or marketing complaining they get no feedback on the leads? So having a good process in there allows marketing to track the success of their efforts, and it allows them to rate their lead sources, right? So if they're trying out a new trade show and they want to know, was it worth, right, our time and money to go to that trade show, or was advertising in this magazine worth it? So having a process in CRM to track all that through to the order allows everyone to give feedback. And again, it provides insight on the sales cycle. Do you know how long your sales cycle is? How long does it take to get from a qualified lead to a sales order? And so having a process set in CRM, and again, everything tracked and followed along, and I'll kind of show that when I get into the CRM, gives a really good insight to others in the company on the sales cycle. So another question a few of you asked was if we were going to review lead scoring today in CRM. And so I just wanted to touch on this briefly. So lead scoring is done in your marketing platform. One example is Inbox Guru, right? They give you the ability to build a profile where you rank a weighted score for a certain action, right? So if you want to rank clicked emails or opened emails in a certain priority, then once you do that, then you put them in as a lead with that weighted score. So lead scoring is really a marketing process that's done outside of a sales lead process. And I can show a little bit more of that when we jump into the CRM, but I just kind of wanted to clarify lead scoring is a piece of the lead process. All right, so another thing we're asked a lot is who qualifies leads? And so it could be your inside sales team, right? Everybody's set up differently. So you may have all your leads that are generated go to the leads entity in CRM, and then maybe the inside sales team works them to bubble them up to an outside sales team to follow up on, or maybe they're passing them to a dealer network or distributor. So that's one way. There could be a marketing process first, right? So marketing maybe puts all the leads in there and has certain statuses that they have to do. Maybe you only want to send warm and hot leads to the actual sales team. So anything cold has a marketing process first. For instance, a drip campaign goes to them to call out a few more specific actions before to kind of bubble up their interest some more and qualify them a bit more before the sales team gets them. And then in some smaller organizations, the sales team's doing it all. Sometimes marketing simply puts the leads in there and the sales team have to go in and they have to qualify and move them along the process themselves. So again, who qualifies the lead is a piece of the sales process and leads process that you should talk about internally as a company and decide so that you know where it's all beginning. And another one is, what do we do with disqualified leads? And the biggest thing we tell you is move them out. Don't let your leads entity be bogged down, right? Nothing should stay in there very long because whoever's doing that action, that first touch on them, right? They should be making that determination. Is this a qualified lead or not? And again, that's going to depend on your company's process, but talk through that too. Is at what point, right, do they become disqualified? Is it after a certain amount of touches and no response back? Do we disqualify? So that's something to talk about amongst yourselves, and then make a plan for the disqualified leads. Don't just let them convert them out and then forget about them, right? Because maybe they just need a little more nurturing to become a lead again and actually become, a qualified lead. So I suggest, whether it's a lead status you assign, whether it's some sort of status you assign on the account contact side to let marketing know, hey, these need some more touches for sales to get better actions out of them. So those are just a couple of items I wanted to touch on with some of the questions we've asked. So I'm now going to jump over into the actual CRM. And for those of you who haven't seen it, this is the latest version. You'll notice the different color scheme and icons are different. This is the latest 04 update. All right, so we're going to start with a quick discussion on lead sources. So I'm in the leads entity here. And just really quick to confirm, because actually there are a few of you that aren't using the leads entity at all. So to confirm, when a customer lives over here, right, a prospect, they are not in the account contact, usually, if they're a brand new lead. And I'll kind of get to why they could be here and here in a minute. But so think of your leads as a completely separate area of your CRM that's focused on getting all these leads, prospects, to a point where they want quoted on your products, right? And so you want to convert them and start an opportunity. So I want to talk about lead sources. Some of you asked, how do we use them? What are they for? And so we'll open up a detailed view of a lead here. And you have your lead source box. So this is your lead sources should be developed, as a team effort with marketing and sales. And again, these are all dependent on how your process works. But it's really important to define these and define them well because these lead sources stay with this contact. So Ed Myers has a lead source, of a purchased list. So once you convert Ed, that lead source is going to stay in his history all the way through. So if 2 years from now you are wondering, how did we get him? He's been such a good customer. You can look and see that it all started on this list you purchased. So that's why lead sources are really important to think through and make sure you stay on top of. And it's usually a lot of times you're adding to this as you go, because maybe you add a new trade show or you advertise in a new magazine and you want to capture that information here. And just a quick note, don't ever, ever, ever delete a lead source. If you know you're not going to do this show anymore, that's fine. You would just go to where you edit these in your administrator and mark it as inactive. If you delete it and now a contact has that tagged from years ago, it will throw an error when you try to open that contact card. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show the importance of lead sources, and you can track multiple lead sources with a contact. So I'm going to go down to Terry's record here. And so I've worked on Terry and it's time to convert. So over here in the detail view, there's a convert qualified lead button. So when I hit convert, you'll get your duplicate checking screen. And here you have all these options to match on. It auto checks email. I always check account company too, and I hit update. And the reason you want to hit account, as you see here, there's it populated, right? So Terry's already in my database on the account and contact side. And this could happen a lot because say Terry was a customer 3 years ago, you did a new promotion and you captured her as a new lead. So she's a lead now with a different lead source type, even though she may have been a customer in the past. So it's okay to track those in leads as well as completely new leads. And I'll show you how that's tracked here. So just a quick review of how to merge here. You'll see that there's already a contact and there's already an account. If Terry wasn't in there but Simplesoft was, you could simply click the add contact and it would add a contact to Simplesoft. But since Terry is already in under Simplesoft, you simply merge and it'll bring over the lead conversion info into her history table. So when you go to Terry, you can see the complete history. And so before I do it, I want to show this checkbox here at the bottom of the page I'm circling. So create opportunity after lead conversion or merge. You want to make this part of your process with leads, because this allows you to convert the lead and then work the opportunity and quote out products, and you can give estimated close dates. For those of you that were on the sales process webinar last month, you'll remember that we showed, right, that sales process to work them through the opportunity until either a closed won or a closed lost status. So I would refer you back to that recorded webinar on our YouTube for more info on that if you missed it. So I'm going to check this and I'm going to merge Terry with her existing contact. You're going to get a table here. Your target is what you want it to be the main record, right? So as you look through, there may be other items that you don't have that you want to pull over. And you'll see there's different lead sources, but I'll show you how that shows up after you convert. So you hit merge and you'll see it's thinking here, because it may take a minute because it's merging everything, it's creating an opportunity, so it's doing quite a few things. So once it opens up, it brings you to the opportunity you just created. I'm not going to touch on opportunities here, but I am going to jump over to Simplesoft to show you how it tracks the multiple lead sources for Terry. So now we're over at the account, and I want to click on Simplesoft's contacts and go over to Terry. And when you're in the contact details screen, you will see here more tabs, and then there's lead sources. And you'll see here where it's tracked her multiple lead sources. So here she came in on the 25th from this convention, and then another lead on the 27th. So it's a great look at seeing all this. Now, Another question that was asked is groups, right? So reporting on leads. So this is a perfect example. A lot of groups I see on the contact side is the lead source group, right? So you can do a group with the condition, show me all the contacts that have a lead source of Dodge reports in the last 6 months, a year, 1 month, whatever you like. I see a lot of tracking with lead sources. All right, so now I'm going to go back to the leads entity. I'm going to go back to the details view. Let me just check the chat box here. All right, no questions yet. All right, so now we're back in the leads entity, and let's open up the detail view and talk through some pieces on this screen. So as you can see, you have all the normal, contact information, and you have where you can be tracking industry. You can do SIC codes. And then down here below, you have your notes and histories, just like on the account contact side. So anything you record from XBAR or any marketing platform emails will all be recorded here. You have your details view. And the details view is where your lead status and lead priority are. And these are important to look at because these are what helps, again, focus your sales team. So again, you can come up with different status items here that match the process you want it to mirror. Okay, and then also priority. So you can use the classic hot, cold, warm, or whatever other naming convention you may have that you want leads. You can assign account managers and owners here. And you can see there's some other details to capture. In the activities tab, again, this is just like in the account contact, right? You can schedule your meetings and to-dos and follow-ups. And you can see responses to any marketing campaigns they may be a part of. So when you go back up to the top half of this screen, you'll see the qualification. So this is a drop-down where you can build these out, and I'll show you where just in a second. It's very easy, where you can have different qualification categories for a lead. So say a certain product line, right? Maybe it's a real high dollar ticket item. And so it needs a credit check before a demo can take place. And so maybe it's called, your demo qualification. And so maybe you have to check off that you've done the credit check and they've gotten credit approval before you can schedule a demo and turn this into an opportunity. So that's just one example. Say, it's a government contract and you want to make sure that you've got the bid specs together before you go into an opportunity and do the quote, right? So there's all different ways you can have this change based on the type of lead you're putting in and possibly the qualification steps that you need your sales team to take before creating an opportunity for it to make sure that they're ready to have a successful sales process. And then, so I will show you on the left-hand side, when you scroll to administration, you will see here there's a qualifications section. And I'll show you real quick how this works. And it's very simple for those of you that are familiar with working in the administrative side. Again, you have to have the administrative rights to do this. So if you're not seeing it, that is why. And so you open one up and it's similar to a pick list, right? So if you wanted to create a completely new one, it's a right click function. So you'd right click on the word qualifications and make a new one. But if you want to edit an existing, right? So here's where you name it. You can add steps by using the plus sign and you can edit the name of them and the ranking and you can remove steps. So it's just that simple. Once you do them and save them, they will show up on that drop-down list under leads. Okay, so back to here. Just gonna check my chat box real quick. All right, okay. So now I'm gonna show you, again, there was a lot of questions on groups and reporting. So I'm going to click over to the contacts entity and show you. So here's one that's called recently converted. So this is one we get asked for a lot, where they want to know who was just converted over to a contact and account, because maybe you have certain e-blasts you want to follow up with, and maybe you want to make this recently converted with status equal to disqualified, right? So that you can start a whole marketing drip campaign to maybe bring these people back into the fold for whatever reason they were disqualified. So that's just a couple of examples of groups. So again, just like everything else in the CRM, you can use the data and the query builder to make these groups to find out actions. Like I said earlier, you can say, show me all the leads that were converted with this, the lead source of Dodge reports and that were disqualified, right? So you can make that a group if you wanted to follow up on that. And then over back in leads, the same thing applies. There's the my groups, so you can make a my hot leads. You could make a group for showing them a certain trade show they might have just done. So show me ABC trade show from last month, right? And so it functions just the same way as the other entities, where you have your list of groups and you have your plus sign to open your query builder and build new. I'm going to pause there and I'm going to open it up. If anyone, feel free if there's something you have questions on or want to talk through or want me to show. All right, nobody has any questions yet. So let me just look through some more of the feedback of what you all wanted to learn on here. So there's a couple of things on how do we coordinate with the different sales teams, right? So maybe you have outside reps and inside reps and lead routing questions, right? There's a couple on those. So that's again where maybe you have, go to the details here on the leads, and maybe it's different statuses, right? So maybe the first status is inside sales non-qualified, and maybe that's how all of them go in. And then inside sales switches them to qualified, and then maybe they assign the outside rep here. So that's one way. So then the outside rep could open his or her CRM, and they could have a group, right, called latest leads or latest assigned to me, right? So when they open, they could know. Now, side note, if you upgrade to the latest version, this is a perfect example of where you could use that out-of-the-box workflow alert, right? So you could set up an alert that says anytime status changes to qualified and account manager is equal to, Bob Smith, send Bob an email. Hey, you have a new lead. I know some of you on the call have Knowledge Sync already, which is an auto alert setup. So if you don't want to upgrade to this to get that workflow, you could use your Knowledge Sync to accomplish the same type of alert to keep everybody on track. Leadership could then have easy dashboards and groups to say, show me all the inside sales non-qualified versus the qualified sent to outside sales, right? So you could keep a quick group. Anything you can make a group can become a dashboard, and you could track from there. All right, let's see, I got a question here. Can you show again how to get multiple lead sources? Yes. So I'll show you here. The lead source is on the lead. I don't know if Ned is already in there. Let's see. I'll go and show you. So once you convert, I'll bring you back over to Terry's to show that. So you go to the contact level of the account. Let's look up Terry. All right, so here's Terry that we just converted. And on the More tabs here, you scroll to Lead Sources. So this shows that Terry has been a lead for you twice, and she's been converted twice. And this is where it captures for which lead sources. So to kind of talk through that again, because we get asked that a lot, is Terry's a customer, a year passes, and Terry comes to buy again. So it's up to you if you want to track that on the contact side, or if you want to start them again as a lead. I suggest starting them again as a lead because of that lead source, right? So now you have accurate metrics for your marketing team of how successful a leads effort was. If you properly track everyone through leads, if you start them there and then track them all the way through, you'll always have a full picture of your lead all the way to sales order, right? Because that history is going to follow all the way through. So then you could even look, so if you were connected to your ERP, right? So if you're connected, right here it would show that she's connected, and you would be able to see sales orders and invoices and everything. So you could see at what time Terry was converted with this lead source, and then how long it took for a sales order to be placed on that product that she was interested in. And so that's a lot of questions were asked on that, was the sales to order process. And so using your leads, converting them, and then starting an opportunity with it, right? So that when you quote the products, they're attached to the opportunity, then you make that a closed one, right? Because then when you go to opportunities tab here, see Terry has an opportunity open. So when that gets closed one, it all can correlate back to where Terry started from. So does anyone have questions kind of on that piece of the process, the lead to sales order? Anything you guys want to talk through or see on that? All right. And then I see some questions on best practices with data cleanliness, deduping. So absolutely, as with anything in the CRM, your data integrity is everything. So making sure that your team really understands how to convert and do that merge process is crucial. Because if they just convert Terry, as you can see, now there would have been 2 accounts. Now you have to merge, someone has to find that there's 2 accounts and merge them. So knowing how to do, let me bring this screen back up on the convert qualified lead, and you get your merge screen. So really understanding this process is going to help you with data integrity, is teaching them to look for the matches. So see here, this lead has no matches on email. And if you're unsure and you think, well, maybe I'll check his first name and last name just in case, hit update matches again in case maybe there's no email in there, but still nothing. And then hitting convert. Let's see, I got a question here. What is the difference between lead source and the lead ID in the details section? Let's see here. Lead ID. Okay, so the lead ID is, so every contact and account that's put into the system has an identifying number. So that's just kind of your behind the scenes number associated with Ned Flanders, if that makes sense. It's completely different from the lead source. This cannot be changed or modified, right? This is generated by the Infor CRM. Melissa, does that help answer that question? Okay, perfect. All right, let me just check what else wanted covered to make sure I didn't miss anything for anybody. And again, anyone wants to come off mute and talk through anything, we can. The audit, it looks like there's a couple questions on automating leads. Again, I would say, I don't know if you mean alerting the salespeople that they have a new lead. Again, that would have to be some sort of alert system you set up. So whether you purchased a tool like Knowledge Sync, or whether you are upgrading or want to upgrade to the latest CRM version that includes the workflow alert, but there's no other way to do that unless unless you train them that, every day you log in here and you look at your latest leads. This group is going to be based on a date range, right? You could have build them group. All the my groups are based on their login, right? So they could see their scores, their scored leads or their trade show leads. So that's one way you could keep it a little more streamlined and focused for them, is if you had groups made for them to see quickly. And again, especially for teams that are on the road, that are accessing this on their mobile phone, it is a lot easier if you make these groups for them and then show them how to make that group a favorite on their mobile phone so that they can access them quickly and easily while traveling. Again, be sure to check out our YouTube channel. I have videos on how to do all of that with mobile phone, so that will help you. Well, we have some time here. I've covered everything I was going to cover on here. We have a question here. Let's see. Can you tell me what version the multiple lead source option is? I'm not seeing it under more. Interesting. Kelly, I'll have to check on that. I didn't think it was based on the version, but maybe it is. So I will check. Right. And like I said, so I've covered everything I was going to cover here. Is there anything else while we have time? Does anyone want to come off mute and see anything? Do you want me to show a little bit more of the workflows in this new version while we have time? All right, you guys are quiet. It must be a busy day. I will let you have back some time in your day then. This is recorded. I'll send it out after for you to revisit in a follow-up email. And as always, sign up for our future events. I appreciate everybody's time, and we will talk again soon.